This video is sponsored by Incogni. On the 10th of April 2015, an up-and-coming artist by the name of Lucia Cole released her debut single, All That Matters, the first single from her debut album Innocence, which was later released on the 28th of May. But who was this Lucia Cole? Well, according to her Wikipedia article and the internet at the time, Lucia Cole was a 23-year-old R&B musician who was set to become the next big star in the music industry. And although only 22 and with only one album out, Lucia Cole had already had quite the career in music, having seemingly written for Kelly Clarkson and Mariah Carey, and had gained a decent-sized fan base of her own, having over 60,000 followers on Twitter, with there also being fan covers of her songs. And from her mostly behind-the-scenes career, according to one website, Lucia Cole had an estimated net worth of $2 million. However, with the release of her album, Cole was finally stepping into the limelight on her own, and was even set to present the 2015 Teen Choice Awards. Or was she? Being the new girl on the music scene with a bright future in the industry ahead, Cole began to receive some attention in the news and the media. Following the release of her debut single, Lucia Cole had an interview with Gossip, a site for black celebrity gossip and entertainment news. In the interview, Cole spoke at length about her tough upbringing and the inspirations for her music, while also announcing her future career plans, including a music video for All That Matters, and teased that she was in conversations with Tyler Perry to star in one of his upcoming films. And this wasn't the only celebrity connection Lucia seemed to have, as on the 23rd of May 2015, Shaquille O'Neal tweeted, "Support at Lucia Cole's new album Innocence, available now everywhere. Can you say the new Mariah Carey, it's fire?" and provided a link where his 9.8 million followers could listen to the music. And so, with her social media following and apparent celeb endorsements, Lucia Cole was destined to become the next big thing in the pop music industry. But perhaps what Lucia Cole didn't realise was that as she was beginning to find her footing in the industry, she was unknowingly walking into the lion's den, the world of female pop music and its fans. If you are familiar with my channel, you will know that the fans of the pop girls are oft kind of rabid, doing things that locals have never dared do before and likely shouldn't have done before. And with this rapid surge in popularity, Lucia Cole was about to enter the online thunderdome of the all-seeing pop music stardom. And unfortunately for her, there was something just not quite right with Lucia Cole. But first, speaking of not quite right, did you know that your personal data, like email and home address, can be being stored, shared and even sold without your knowledge by data brokers? Shady stuff. But that's where the sponsor of today's video, Incogni, can help. Incogni is a data broker removal service which can keep your data safe and private. So you may not know this, but there is an entire industry dedicated to collecting your personal data from when you do things like browse the web or buy things online, and then these companies sell this data to other companies for them to use in things like targeted marketing, which leads to you receiving loads of spam calls and emails. Or if the data ends up making its way into even wronger hands, this data can be used to carry out identity theft. Luckily, for those of us that live in countries like the UK, US, Canada and countries of the EU, there are legal frameworks that allow us to have our data removed from these data broker systems upon request. But let's be honest, how many data brokers can you name off the top of your head? So that's where Incogni steps in and carries out all the removals for you. With Incogni, all you need to do is sign up and allow them to make these requests on your behalf, and then they handle the rest, contacting these data brokers and having them remove your personal data from their databases, saving you a load of time and stress. Incogni also shows you how many requests have been sent to which companies and the status of these requests. As someone who is incredibly private, especially with their personal data, is Joe even my real name? Incogni helps to ensure that my data is private and stays that way, as they conduct repeated removal requests so that any new records that pop back up on these data broker sites are automatically taken care of again. And right now you can take your personal data back with Incogni by going to incogni.com/JoeRegrets, linked below, where you can get 60% off an annual Incogni plan. Thank you to Incogni for sponsoring this video, and now back to to Lucia Cole. Following the release of her debut album Innocence that was released in May of 2015, Lucia Cole did an exclusive interview with Music Times on the 10th of July. The interview was the most in-depth Cole had given so far after gaining attention from the industry. In the interview, Lucia Cole spoke about her background in writing for other artists and went on to talk about her follow-up album to Innocence, which would be titled Dreams Fulfilled. When the interviewer asked Cole if there would be any features on her new album, she said that the album featured a song with Ariana Grande and one with Drake. When asked about working with Ariana, Cole said the following: "It was awesome. I have worked with Ariana in the past on her first and her second album, so we have known each other for a while, and I think she has an amazing voice, and I think it's amazing that she's kind of bringing that 90s influence back to mainstream pop." For any new artist trying to make it big, getting a collab with someone like Ariana Grande or Drake, but you'll see why I'm focusing on Ariana in a bit, is a huge opportunity and is kind of a golden ticket to the top. Having Ariana on your album guarantees that a lot of her fans will come over and check it out and hopefully will become interested in you and your own music. And such an interest was indeed taken by some Arianators. Following Lucia Cole's interview with the Music Times and revealing that Ariana was on her upcoming second album, the Ariana Grande fans began to share the Lucia Cole interview as they were excited that new music from their fave, Ariana, not Lucia, would be on the way soon. However, many Ariana Grande fans expressed their confusion as to who Lucia Cole was, which led to some users checking out Lucia's music and they liked what they heard. It's official, I'm obsessed with Lucia Cole's voice. Only it wasn't actually Lucia Cole's voice, because as some Ariana Grande fans soon uncovered, Lucia Cole, the up-and-coming R&B artist with 60k followers who had written for Kelly Clarkson, Mariah Carey, had interviews with major publications, who was said to be collabing with Ariana Grande and Drake, destined to become pop music's next big thing, didn't actually exist. And all of the songs on her debut album Innocence weren't even original songs. The album that was available for purchase and on streaming services were actually songs from none other than the Y2K pop culture icon Jessica Simpson. And to clarify, no, not covers of Jessica Simpson's songs, the actual Jessica Simpson songs, direct re-uploads. Even titles used for the fake songs on Fake Lucia's fake album were similar to the Jessica Simpson's original songs that they came from. For example, Your Love was the song For Your Love from Simpson's 2001 album Irresistible. Heart was Simpson's Heart of Innocence from her 1999 album Sweet Kisses, and although Cole had altered some of the track titles, perhaps in a half-assed attempt to conceal their true Jessica Simpson nature, there were several songs on Innocence that titles Lucia didn't even bother to change and were the exact same as on Jessica Simpson's albums, which makes the fact that the fake album managed to slip under the radar and exist for so long prior to being exposed all the more egregious. The only song on Lucia Cole's album that wasn't Jessica Simpson's was All That Matters, her debut single, which was originally speculated to be the person behind the Lucia Cole character's own original song. However, it was eventually discovered that it was a track from a relatively unknown artist called Brie. According to what I could find online, Brie was a pop R&B artist who seemingly only ever released one album back in 2007, which included a song called Your All That Matters, which was apparently the same song as Cole's All That Matters. There was very little information I could actually find on Brie and her music, which I think is why the catfish behind Lucia Cole decided to use her music, but I did manage to find an archive of her old website, which I have to share just for some nostalgia. Bring back websites like this, please. And beyond Lucia's own faked music, her previous musical achievements prior to her Simpson-stealing era weren't what they seemed either. In her earlier interviews, Cole claimed to have written for artists like Kelly Clarkson and Mariah Carey, which a quick check of Wikipedia at the time would confirm. Lucia Cole was a songwriter on Kelly Clarkson's Stronger album, as well as her song Catch My Breath, and Cole was also credited as writing Mariah's Almost Home and #Beautiful. only she didn't. Because when you check the songwriting credits in the physical booklets that come along with the albums, Lucia Cole is not listed as a songwriter on the tracks. And yes, those are my own personal copies of Kelly's albums. However, interestingly, on the 20th of April 2015, 4 days prior to the release of Lucia Cole's first interview, edits were made on these 4 Wikipedia pages, all by the same wiki user. And when looking at the edits made to these pages, the mysterious wiki user has altered the credits for the Carey and Clarkson songs, adding a new name to the list of songwriters. That name was Lucia Cole. These Lucia Cole edits were eventually corrected. However, in May, some of these revisions were undone and Cole's name was re-added, coincidentally a few days prior to Cole's Music Times interview. As Lucia Cole's web of lies began to slowly unravel, the Ariana Grande fans, having discovered this strange music catfish, went public with the information. On the 13th of July 2015, the fan Ariana Grande news account, Ariana Today, shared a tweet which read, @TrulyLucia, Lucia Cole's Twitter account, is a fake. She's pretending to be Reese Cromwell and Jessica Simpson, plus everything she said are all lies. Attached to the tweet were a series of images that highlighted evidence of Cole's deception, including a screenshot of Lucia Cole's Wikipedia page, which I previously mentioned, and which we now know is likely to have been self-created, placed side by side with Jessica Simpson's Wikipedia page, showing that a section was copied from Jessica's page with very few changes. The expose tweet quickly gained traction amongst Ariana Grande fans who had previously been excited thinking they were getting new Ari music soon, and from what I could find, this tweet appeared to have been the first major breaking of the news that Lucia Cole was fake, although the info had apparently already been shared amongst smaller groups of fans prior to this tweet. Within around 10 minutes of the tweet being posted, Lucia Cole's Twitter account with her 64,000 followers went private, and so the downfall of Lucia Cole began. To start, it should come as no surprise that the images of quote-unquote Lucia Cole that she was using on her album covers and Twitter account, which also even appeared in the officially published interviews she did, weren't actually pictures of Lucia Cole, cause she doesn't exist. The images that Lucia was claiming to be her were actually a couple of different people, one of whom was a fashion designer who at the time had the Instagram handle Think Reese, and this deception was highlighted in the Ariana Grande Today tweet. People started to tag Think Reese in the tweet, making her aware that someone was pretending to be her, and she ended up responding, directly addressing Lucia. At least she used a cute photo of me, @TrulyLucia. I'm sure you're absolutely gorgeous, there is no need to use me. But this wasn't the only innocent person caught up in Lucia Cole's web, because you may remember earlier I said that Cole even had fans covering her songs. Well, turns out that wasn't true either. The YouTube video posted on a channel called Kelly Roll Low, which was of a girl apparently doing a cover of Ever Loved Somebody by Lucia Cole, was actually just a re-upload of a video stolen from a girl named Kim Layers, covering the Jessica Simpson song Did You Ever Love Somebody, which was first uploaded in 2008 before this other mysterious YouTube channel re-uploaded it in 2015. This was pointed out by a blog that existed at the time called Pop Culture Died in 2009 in a post they titled Trainwreck of the Week, the train wreck in question being Lucia. Now, I want to personally thank this blog because although it's not accessible anymore, if you've been looking at the sources I put in the bottom right hand corner, you may have noticed that a lot of them are from the Pop Culture Died in 2009 blog, because when I say this blog documented the Lucia saga as it was happening, it truly documented like every single little detail. So I must give credit where credit is absolutely due and shout out this 2015 blog post for preserving this moment. The blog also documented a couple of Twitter users who, following Lucia Cole's unmasking, tweeted Lucia asking for her opinion on Jessica Simpson, to which Lucia said that she loved her and had a powerful voice and was underrated, although, as the Pop Culture blog pointed out, she interestingly used the past tense as if Simpson was dead or had been been replaced. With the lengths to which the person behind Lucia Cole had gone to fabricate this fake pop star becoming increasingly public knowledge, Cole did actually gain some celebrity attention, with the American actress Mara Wilson mentioning her in a tweet and alluding to her scamming ways. And that was pretty much the closest Lucia Cole would ever come to fame, because, if you hadn't already worked out, the Ariana Grande collab and the Drake collab weren't actually on the cards. However, strangely, the only mad celebrity connection Lucia Cole actually seemingly had was with Shaq, and his tweet encouraging people to listen to Lucia's, now known to be Jessica Simpson's, music. Yes, I too was shocked to find out that this tweet was not only real and not edited by Lucia Cole, but it is actually still up and can be viewed as of 2024. Although, looking at Shaq's Twitter page at the time, it wasn't that unusual, as he used to randomly share a lot of stuff on Twitter. So my current theory is that Shaq received several messages encouraging him to listen to Lucia Cole, and after listening to it and not recognising Jessica Simpson's Naughty's tunes, shared the Lucia link thinking he was supporting a new up-and-coming artist. Either that or it was somehow paid promo, but I'm not sure Lucia had Shaq money, despite what the net worth website said. Speaking of the net worth website, following the expose that Lucia wasn't real, the site that had previously claimed that she was worth $2 million updated Lucia's page, saying, "We are slightly embarrassed to admit that Lucia Cole is not a real person. Between April and June 2015, we received approximately 25 emails from various accounts begging us to add a new pop sensation named Lucia Cole, who had a net worth of $2 million according to various sources. Some of the sources were very much legitimate, so we added a page for her. Unfortunately, this Lucia saga turned out to be some bizarre catfish perpetrated by ... no one really knows." The part I find interesting about this update is the 25 emails from various accounts, which leads me on to Lucia and her fan base, or I should say, lack of. As I mentioned earlier, Lucia Cole's Twitter account had almost 64,000 followers, and so once Lucia was exposed as a phony, the fact she had managed to gain 64,000 followers from a fake and stolen music career was suspicious. And after one user on a Lucia Cole is fake forum thread conducted a Twitter account audit search, they revealed that of Lucia Cole's 64,000 followers, 63,517 of them were in fact fake. Although, seeing it all laid out like this, it seems incredibly obvious that Lucia Cole was fake, and that most of her fake accolades were easily debunked with a quick Google search. When questioning how this fake pop star managed to get interviews with actual publications, I don't think it should be underestimated how effective all of these little falsified pockets of information were in incorrectly authenticating Lucia Cole's existence when they were all added up. And one lie in particular that I think will have done the most heavy lifting in verifying her existence was her fabricated connection to Universal Music Group. This is a Lucia lie that I've purposely overlooked until I was deep into the Lucia Cole is fake section of the video, but Lucia Cole claimed that she was signed with Universal Music Group, the record label, which she was not. Interestingly, in one of her interviews, underneath the images that were used of Think Reese, it said courtesy of Universal Music Group, which makes me theorise that Cole was somehow impersonating Universal Music Group to provide these images. Also, something else that I found interesting with the Music Times interview is that parts of the interview in hindsight read as if the interviewer is maybe a little suspicious of Lucia. Tell me how a girl from Arkansas gets an acting gig and ends up writing for these big artists and establishes such a brand for herself at 22. But if it was skepticism, this wasn't pushed further and nothing ever came of it. After it was revealed that Lucia wasn't real, one of the interviews she had previously done was taken down, but the Bossip interview remained up and an update was added that read, "The profile was written by one of Bossip's highly experienced journalists. We love doing new artist profiles and conducted a phoner after being pitched an up from her bootstraps angle. As with all our exclusives, we conducted standard vetting, which included outreach to PR reps, background received from her manager, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Wiki profile, which helped to legitimise that she was indeed an up-and-coming artist. It's unfortunate that whomever falsely presented themselves as Lucia Cole took advantage of our interests in highlighting artists in this way. The interviews themselves are also, in hindsight, really kind of sick, as the catfisher created a backstory for Lucia Cole involving her being a victim of abuse, and the interviewer goes on to relate this to an actual real-life celebrity who was said to have experienced similar things. And not only does the catfisher have no qualms in this comparison, they actually go on to claim that they had endured abuse from someone in the music industry, the industry that they're not even a part of. I've redacted the name of the celebrities that the interviewer mentioned because I don't think it's appropriate to have Lucia's fake backstory put alongside this person's real life. And although the old publications about Lucia were either removed or updated to clarify that she didn't exist, due to the insane nature of the scam/catfish operation, new articles began to be written about the situation, one of which was titled, "Can you have an album on iTunes if you don't exist?" To which the answer was, yes, you can. It was also around the time of this article that Lucia Cole's thieved music was removed from music platforms. After all the forum posts, blog posts and the news articles, on around the 19th of July 2015, Lucia Cole finally came clean. In Notes app apology style, the Lucia Cole account shared a statement to her Twitter. In the statement, the person behind Lucia Cole begins talking about their upbringing and how they were moved from family to family after their parents gave them up and the subsequent abuse they suffered. The account then goes on to allege that when they were in college, they created a fake online persona that, according to them and obviously allegedly, caught the attention of the American singer Trey Songz. Please remember, this is all alleged. They claim that they spoke to Trey for a while before he apparently broke it off, essentially because they didn't actually exist, and how this led to the fake catfisher experiencing depression. Following this, Lucia wrote, "A few months later, I started with new accounts to try and once again start talking to Trey, and I've been trying non-stop because I don't know who else I can turn to. I apologise to anyone I hurt, Jessica, the record labels, the interviewers." The statement goes on to say that she never intended for this to happen, and then blesses the reader. And after this statement, Lucia Cole deleted her account. Now, as you can see, I have redacted part of Lucia's statement, and the reason for this was because it could be a potential trigger, and it is very distressing what Lucia said she was going to do next after posting the statement. But also, because as sad as this statement is, and even perhaps it might have truly been a moment of realisation and introspection from the person behind Lucia, in a The Boy Who Cried Wolf fashion, it's sadly impossible to know anymore what is the truth and how much of this statement can actually be believed, especially the Trey Songz stuff, more on that later. And another thing to take into consideration is that allegedly following Lucia's statements, there were several Lucia Cole fan accounts that popped up tweeting their support for Lucia and arguing with her quote-unquote haters, which, with what we now know about the authenticity of her following, could be viewed as suspicious. Around 10 days after Lucia deleted her account, BuzzFeed shared an article detailing the entire Lucia Cole saga. In the article, BuzzFeed credits an Ariana Grande fan called Leo Laura, I hope I'm saying that right, with being the first to discover that Cole was a fake and the albums were composed of Jessica Simpson's songs. After their discovery, the Ariana Grande fan began sharing this info with other Arianators, and thus Lucia was publicly exposed. The article was essentially a wrapping up and overview of the saga, but later in February 2016, several months after Lucia Cole, BuzzFeed did a follow-up article to the situation involving other catfish cases, and they provided new info about Lucia Cole. According to BuzzFeed, there was an American football player who had also got wrapped up in the world of Lucia Cole, as at the time when Lucia was active and believed to be real, this footballer's manager received an email from Cole's quote-unquote team, asking if he would appear in her upcoming music video. Eventually, Cole started to text the football player, telling him about her difficult past, and then she eventually tried to flirt with the player and asked him to send images of himself, but he turned her down as it was unprofessional. This added detail to the Lucia Cole story makes me even more cynical of the catfisher's Notes app statement about Trey songs being true, because this interaction with the American football player makes it seem that her elaborate catfish attempt wasn't as focused on songs as she claimed. To clarify, it would still be incredibly wrong if it was just focused on one person, but this additional case suggests that the catfisher's entire statement isn't quite the truth. Over the years, there have been several other fake wannabe catfishers who have similar vibes and flair as Lucia Cole, with some users on forums and blogs speculating that the person behind Lucia was also responsible for these fake accounts too. One of these accounts even claimed to be the Lucia Cole Returned, even releasing new music, which again appeared to include other people's music. How true it is that these accounts were all the works of a single person, I do not know, and it remains to be just speculation. However, if Lucia's farewell post is to be believed, the person behind Lucia was a serial catfisher, so these attempts being the work of Lucia's creator isn't out of the realm of possibility. And looking back at Lucia Cole, the fake pop star persona who stole Jessica Simpson's music, although she was quite successful managing to scam her way into interviews with real publications, her music not so successful, as over the course of the entire viral Lucia Cole saga, according to an NPR article, none of her songs actually even managed to sell more than 5 copies. A very special thank you to Incogni for sponsoring this video, and remember you can go to incogni.com/joeregrets, linked below, to get 60% off an annual plan. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you would like to see more videos like this one in the future.